you have to read your own cues and your own red flags. So, and same goes with resilience. I think resilience is something that we are naturally doing, because as we grow older, I feel we become more resilient because life throws multiple challenges along the way by default. And there was actually a study showing that the older we get, the lesser the chance of us experience depression gets. However, I think that there's a change. I need to look this up. But I remember there was a study on this.
What I can tell you, that during COVID, we did a longitudinal study on mental health for the Richmond Foundation, and it's public, that's why I'm mentioning the name. And the highest levels of anxiety and depression during COVID were highest amongst youngsters.
Yeah.
By far.
So there's a correlation.
There's a correlation with what you just said.
And so then it depends on how many times we put ourselves in difficult situations or challenging situations, and so that we can build on our resistance. Like a muscle, as you said, I think that's a very good analogy, because very much like a muscle, you need to put tension on the muscle.
Yes, otherwise you don't improve. So, but making sure that it's, you know, your limits.
Yes,
you work, because the limits are different, like you just, for all of us. So as long as you're working within those limits, because I think it's a very fine line. And one of my greatest, if I say, fears in life is, I don't know where that fine line is, or I've never went beyond it, but I have come across people that went beyond it and maybe fell into depression.
Yeah.
And they're not just the family example I mentioned too, but even people, professionals. So sometimes I say, when will I hope I will never reach that stage. Yeah. But if I do, that's a kind of a problem, because then it's much more difficult to go back up from that situation.
That's sometimes I give training on burnout, what's burnout and how to prevent it. It's much easier to prevent burnout than to tackle it once you're there. So that's very much what you're saying.
So I'm very aware of it.
Yeah.
And when I see that I'm on the red for a very period of time, I kind of force myself to take immediate action to make sure, hopefully, this doesn't happen. And I hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
But you never know. I'm a human being like everyone is. And sometimes things happen to you based on the current circumstances.
That's true.
So your tolerance today and your tolerance in a few weeks' time or a month's time might be very different, and you might end up in a burnout for lower levels of anxiety that you're used to.
That's true. Morgan, thank you for this chat. It's been a very pleasant chat. Hope your experience was positive.
Yes.
It's your first podcast, so...
I wasn't very organized maybe in this COVID. We jumped on multiple topics.
As we've discussed, I don't have a team or an agenda for the podcast. So wherever the conversation goes, I'll follow or I lead. It depends on the topic. But hopefully found value in this.
I loved it. Thank you.
Thank you for being part of this, Morgan.